What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Yanks of the Cop. We are here for Friday's final words, open agenda. So please leave your thoughts, opinions, questions, comments, anything in the channel. As always, we're your hosts, Steve Wahomie, and we're welcoming back our third host, Scans, from his little bit of a hiatus. He is back and better than ever. And today we got very special guests. We have another Liverpool fan on, Mo. Mo, thanks for joining us, man. How are you?
I'm doing good, yeah. I'm excited to come on here and chat about Liverpool. Yeah.
Always love having guests, and appreciate your insight. Definitely a lot of news this week surrounding the team. I think where we should all start is the Champions League draw that came out this morning. So the quarterfinals has been set, and the semifinal matchups have been set as well. Looks like Liverpool got drew against European rival Real Madrid. Hopefully, you can get a little payback for the 2018.
Yes, sir.
And we will play, and the winner of that matchup will play the winner of Porto and Chelsea in the semifinal. So, fellas, let's start with that. Overall, what are your thoughts on the draw? Mo, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I thought it would have been like one of the best outcomes for us, especially considering like not how weak our squad is, but like compared to the others, we obviously did not want to face like a Munich or a City or a PSG. But it's like, yeah, it's one of the preferred draws of like Porto and Dortmund that we all would have wanted at the start. So yeah, yep.
Scans, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I'm not as ecstatic as everybody else is. I think that, obviously I haven't been on the show in a while, and I'm not sure what how much you guys have been saying about Liverpool. I've caught a few of the episodes, obviously, but even that Wolves game, I didn't think that we were lights out by any means. I thought Wolves actually dominated a lot of the game. And the good news is for me, I think that we've done very well defensively. We've found finally a center back partnership that I think that we can kind of rely on for the most part. They're not world beaters. They're not world-class center backs, but they're going to get the job done, hopefully. And then, that allows further trust in our wing backs. But against a team like Real Madrid, they still have the highest qualities. They're called the Galacticos for a reason. They have Karim Benzema up top, who I think is top 5 striker in the world and has been for a long time. And he's going to provide a different test. He's a big body. He's incredibly skilled. He can score any foot. He can score any way in the air. He's dominant in the air. He's going to cause a lot of problems for Phillips and Kabak. So I'm a little worried about that. And then you have Toni Kroos behind him. You have Luka Modric behind him. You have Rodrigo in the wing, or Lucas Hernandez, or Eden Hazard, or Vinicius Jr. You have all these guys that have incredible pace, incredible skill. So I don't think it's going to be a walk in the park by any means. And then you also have Sergio Ramos, who's one of the best defenders of all time, still occupying that back line of Real Madrid. So, yeah, I'm excited to see the matchup, but I don't think we're a shoo-in by any means, especially with the way our front three have been playing. I don't think we can rely on goals for the most part unless things start to really click for us. I think that it was big to have Fabinho back in the midfield. He really changed the game and the lineup against Wolves. But is it going to be enough? I don't know. I'm not sure, but I'm excited. No, I am excited about having Real Madrid, and it's going to be great. But I'm not 100% positive we're going to go through.
So my take is going to be different to both of theirs. So I'm maybe more positive. Wow,
well, homie, the positivity.
Yeah, well, I don't share the sentiments. I think a lot of teams are overrating a lot of other teams. Like Bayern conceded 31 goals this year, 5 less than us, and we've had 28 centre-back power pairings. As good as Bayern are going forward, their defence is shocking. It's not better than ours, really, by 5 goals. PSG, who lost to Farmers in the French league, they've lost 7 times. After they beat Barcelona, they lost 2-0 away to Monaco. So, I think PSG are grossly overrated again. City, again, as well. If it wasn't for Alisson's 2 errors in that game at Anfield, that game was heading to a draw. He made 2 uncharacteristic errors. Otherwise, City didn't outplay us. They weren't that better than us. And we've seen City recently lost to Man United. They got a class from Man United recently at home. So, again, I think people are rating the others. Of course, yeah, I'd have preferred an easier draw, but I don't think I would have been afraid realistically we had to face a Bayern or PSG or a City in the next round. Because I think they would have been none of them would have wanted to face Liverpool. And the fact is that over two-legged ties, we know it's like to beat Bayern. We beat them 2 years ago. We know it's like to beat City, and we know it's like to beat PSG. So, but obviously, of course, we avoided them. But I personally wouldn't have been afraid because I think there's frailties in all those clubs. And I'm not even convinced, for example, with City. I'm not convinced City will beat Dortmund. I think they underestimate them like they did Lyon last year. And I think they're going to be surprised.
Yeah, no way.
Think about it. If Man United can beat City, why can't Dortmund do it?
Dortmund are terrible defensively.
Yeah, terrible defensively, but they've got much better strike force. You're talking about Sancho, Haaland. They're also that youngster, that 16-year-old kid. I can't remember his name.
Gio Reyna and Jude Bellingham.
Not Jude Bellingham, the other one. He's a forward.
Gio
Reyna.
Not Reyna, the other one. It begins with M.
Makuku.
No, 16-year-old kid. He scored recently again. I can't remember his name.
His name's Makuku from,
Yeah, him. He's really good. But anyway, going back to Liverpool, I disagree as well over Real Madrid because I think Madrid aren't. This isn't Real Madrid with Ronaldo and Benzema or Bale up top with Di Maria and stuff. This is the Ronaldo. This is the Madrid that've only got. If we look at Madrid, they've scored 15 goals this year. 15 goals with Benzema scored 15 goals. The next one, he's the next top goal scorer, is Casemiro with 5 goals. Then after that, you've got Vincenzo, Modric, I can't remember the other guy on 3 goals. It's not blessed with goals. So this is not.
Well, homie, you're making the exact same argument for Liverpool that you are for Real Madrid. Only
no, I'm not saying. I'm saying
the exact same thing. Real Madrid is the same exact team. They won 3 Champions Leagues in a row. The only guy they're missing is Cristiano Ronaldo.
A long time ago, they won those with Ronaldo and Bale up top.
Yeah, but you're saying that Liverpool, we wouldn't fear Bayern, we wouldn't fear City, but those are completely different teams. And this is the same thing has happened to Real Madrid. They're a completely different team now, but it's the same players. They're just not in the same form. You don't understand what I'm saying? You're making the same argument, but 2 different sides.
I get what you're saying. I'm not saying Liverpool are going to walk through. I'm just saying I'm not afraid of Madrid. I don't think we have anything to fear against Real Madrid, because as well, you're talking about Casemiro, Cruz, and Modric, right? They're very old now, and their powers are wanged, So if you put in a Fabinho who's 27, Ginny's very good at pressing, running around. Hendo, I think we've got enough in our midfield to outpress them, outrun them. And plus, I don't think that Madrid's midfield is any different than Barcelona's midfield when we played them 2 years ago. The only difference then was Messi in that first leg. Otherwise, Barcelona were average at best.
Yeah, I agree.
Messi. I think this one around, Madrid have been average so far this Champions League. I'm not saying Liverpool are great. We know we've been poor all season, yeah. But I'm just saying Madrid haven't been anything scary. They've not been anything that you think, wow, this is we've got something really fair.
I completely agree with you on that point. I just think that the 2 of us are very similar teams. You can play against Liverpool, you can face against one of the best teams in the world, or you could play against a team that loses to Brighton on a weekend or Burnley on a weekend. Same thing goes for Real Madrid. Real Madrid can show up to one game and lose to Porto 2-0, and then the next game they can make it to the next round. So not Porto, whoever it was. But you see my point, though. They're very similar.
I see your point. Both sides, they're very similar sides. But I just think I think Madrid have one attacker that's going to score goals for them. If you stop Benzema, they're not going to score any goals. That's it. Yeah. So, and I think Benzema's not as good as he used to be. Isn't Benzema of 2 years ago where he was electric and stuff? Now, he's not the same player he was. I think I would back Kabak and Phillips to keep him out, because I don't think this isn't like Madrid where they had loads of players on the bench to bring on to change the game. They haven't got Bale on the bench to bring on to change the game. And but I think.
They still have Isco, Asensio.
Asensio's rubbish. Asensio hasn't scored but Asensio's been rubbish. He hasn't scored in ages. He's on the bench for a reason.
My point is the quality's there. They have the quality.
Quality is there, but I think all it takes is one little click from our forwards. You will forget. Salah, this is redemption for him. Salah is going to be up for this game like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
He's going to go into that game like a hungry animal, wanting to punish Ramos and punish Real Madrid for all after him. You know.
Yeah, definitely.
Jota, and also I think Madrid have been playing a lot of times free at the back, because in the game against the last game against who they beat the last one. I think against Madrid they played free at the back.
They beat Atalanta.
Atalanta free at the back. They played free at the back. If they played free at the back against us, and they put Ramos, Varane.
Yeah, they had Nacho, Ramos, and Varane in the back, and then they had Mendy and Vasquez on the outside.
They do that against us. It's a punishment for us. That's gonna be like putting a kid in a candy shop, because Varane's good, but he's got a big mistake in them. Ramos has got a foul in himself. He always does something crazy. That as good as he is going forward, he always does something crazy. And Nacho, I don't rate him that much. So I just think kind of Chambers, Asenio, they played Atlanta were poor in that game against Madrid. Overall, Asenio's not been that great this year or even last year. The reason why he's on the bench most of the time, because he's not lived up to his potential. So I think I'm confident that we'll beat Madrid, kick him out. And I think after that, I'm confident, as long as you have Fabinho, Henderson midfield, I'm confident we kick Chelsea out as well. Chelsea pulls away when it is, we kick him out.
That's a different conversation. But let's get to the chat real quick. Seems we're kind of mixed here. I mean, Chris Welch said something here that Haaland might be suspended for the first leg against Man City. I'm not sure about that. Maybe one of you guys can figure that one out. Not positive, but Lost ID said, "Hola chicos, we'll beat the shit out of Madrid." Yeah, I hope so, man. I mean, Chris Welch again said Real Madrid won't be easy, but I'm confident that we can go through. I mean, I'm definitely confident we can go through. I just think it's kind of like what Johnny Williams says here. He says that the game is going to be 50-50. Both of these teams aren't nearly close to where they were. I mean, I completely agree with that. But both sides still have the quality. I mean, we have Thiago, Fabinho in the midfield, obviously our front three, and the wing backs as well. But
I don't think that's correct on Haaland.
Man, you are too optimistic. What?
I don't think that's correct on Haaland. It doesn't mention anything here about him being suspended.
Yeah, I didn't say anything. But Steven, I mean, what do you think about all this? Do you think? Sorry, I'm kind of taking over your role, I suppose.
Hey, welcome back, man. Do you, dude? Do you? No, I think. I mean, a lot's already been said. But no, I think. Honestly, I think a number of things. Number one, we definitely have an advantage in terms of mindset going into it. I think we have a point to prove and to show them that 2018 was a fluke. And if that stuff didn't happen to Salah, we could have beat them. So I think that's going to help us massively. Number two, I think the lift of having Fabinho in the midfield is going to be absolutely massive. No, really the biggest place that I'm worried about is that midfield battle, because we know how good Kroos and Modric is. But I think, like Wahomie said, I feel a lot better with having Fabinho back in the midfield. And I think if we had Fabinho in the midfield, and not as a center back against Chelsea, that would have been a different match as well, because Mason Mount would just carved us up. And I think having Fabinho and his ability just to be in the right place at the right time and anticipate where the balls are going to go next is something that people don't really talk about.
Yeah.
And, Gini Wijnaldum, we can cut out passing lanes. If it's Keita is a great ball winner. He's a great tackler. But I think one of the big things for me is going to be Henderson's fitness. I think if Henderson's available and you can go Fabinho and Henderson in the midfield, that's going to be a huge battle for Kroos and Modric to get through. And I think that's going to be absolutely massive. And then, because honestly, I'm not really too concerned about them on the wings. I saw a report today that Hazard wouldn't be available until the semifinal if they make it. And then I just...
Hazard hasn't done anything in the Champions League anyhow. He's all for the Champions League.
No, exactly. And when I look at their wingers, in my opinion, all of Madrid's strength is through the middle and their spine. Like you said, it's the Ramos, it's the Kroos, it's the Modric, it's the Benzema. So if we can have our best players in there, I think Trent's been great defensively as well. Robinson, we know he's good defensively. So no, I think it's going to be a really interesting matchup. Do I think we can go through? Yes. Do I think it's going to be easy? No. But if gun to my head right now, if you had to tell me, if I had to pick, I would say, yeah, I'm confident that Liverpool can get through. I just think that, and I also think for us having Jota as an option, and how you saw how he played against Wolves. He was probably one of the best players on the field for us. His motor is going to be a huge problem for them. And then just if you start him over Firmino, the pace of our front three is going to be very tough for those guys to deal with. Outside of Varane, Ramos is still really good, but he he can go into a tackle pretty bad at times. So having to deal with that pace could be an issue. I don't think it's going to be as easy as a lot of people think. I think a lot of people are already kind of assuming we're going to go into the semifinal. I don't think it's that easy. But I do think that, hey, if I was given the option, my option would have been Porto and then either Dortmund or Real Madrid. So it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this as well. If we had Alisson and Fabinho in that Champions League final, we lost to Madrid, different game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely. I mean, if you put in any other goalie other than Karius, we probably have a good game on our hands. He made two massive mistakes. But going back into the chat here, Omar Ray, I hope you're right. Come on, you Reds. Ramos red card. Liverpool will win 2-1. Saul gain his revenge. Well, homie's right about Madrid. They're not that great. Up the Reds. I mean, hey, they're not that great, but we're definitely taking a step down too this season. So it's going to be interesting to look at. I think it won't be that beautiful game that we're all expecting. Both teams know the Dangerfield will defend more than usual. I guess the midfield will be key for both teams. Exactly what I think too. And everyone in the chat, we do appreciate you guys. If you haven't hit like and subscribe, please do that. It helps Liverpool fans see this channel. But Mo, going back to you, I mean, anything else that you think about this game, like about this matchup? Like, who are the key players for you?
Well, so Real Madrid are currently playing with a makeshift right back because of Carvajal's injury, because we're not too sure if he's going to be fit or not. So it's going to be looking likely that it's going to be Mane versus Lucas Vazquez, who's basically a right winger. So, and I also think I think the game's going to be won in the midfield battle probably, because if you can outdo Modric and Kroos, you can outdo Madrid. And I think if we do play Fabinho and Henderson in, then I think we do have the keys to unlocking that midfield. And then,
yeah, that's a good point. I think that we can beat Real Madrid's midfield strictly because I think that Modric and Kroos are so used to having the ball so much. If we can run them ragged in the midfield with Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and let Thiago just kind of roam, that'll wear them out. Obviously, decision making becomes much harder throughout the game for Real Madrid, and if they can't rely on those balls from Modric and Toni Kroos, then they could be in some trouble. So that's a good point, Mo.
Yeah, I think we were missing with last week in Madrid. We missed someone who could tackle, break up play in middle of the park. Because Madrid, when they beat us in that final, they just Modric, Kroos, and Casemiro just passing the ball around all day long, and we were chasing shadows. But we never had anyone really that's going to break up play, that could play forward passes. And I think that's where Fabinho comes in. He's crucial because we saw, how amazing he was against Barcelona, how he was good against Bayern Munich. So he's going to be crucial for us in that game. Yeah. And I think also Thiago's going to be. This is why I bought Thiago. Thiago, we bought him for these kind of matches to, I'm not sure Henderson will play the first leg because it depends. He's going to be back for that first week of April, but it depends how fit he will be for that. So I doubt he'll probably play. So I imagine it will probably be more Fabinho, Gini, Thiago. And I think that's a good enough front three to, control possession, run them ragged, and then just allow Thiago just to, because Thiago's as good as Kroos, So, we missed a play like Thiago in that final as well when we played Madrid last time. He can unlock the ball, dominate possession, So he's going to be crucial for this game. So, I'm not saying, again, yes, I'm excited, but I'm not saying that it's going to be an easy game. I think obviously Liverpool have to still bring their A game and,
Is it 2 legs?
Yeah.
Huh?
It is?
Yeah, 2
okay.
legs. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, we forgot that the Madrid have a Clasico between our 2 games.
Yeah.
That's going to be okay, yeah.
And they're 6 points off the top of the Liga. They ain't going to throw that game away. Because if they win that game, that means they're closing out to Atletico. So that's going to be huge for them in terms of, what do they do for that game? Well, you've got Villa at home. They've got
That's
Barcelona
not easy either.
It's not an easy way, but they've got Barcelona away. So, they're trying to go for the league title. So they're going to have to play the best team out. That's going to knacker them. For us, we can probably get away with dropping a few players in that game at Anfield while they have to play the best team out again because they're not going to throw that away. The fans wouldn't expect it.
The one thing for us right now is I wonder is our game against Arsenal going to get moved? Because as of right now, we only have that game's on Sunday, and then
I think it was moved.
I think so,
They moved it to Saturday.
Originally, yeah, okay, that's good because originally it was only going to be a 1-day gap. So
Yeah.
that's good. got moved. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. That's for sure. Interesting couple legs. And obviously, I think it tees up well for us that if whoever does go through for Real Madrid or Liverpool to be able to play Porto or Chelsea, I think either one of those is going to be a good matchup. But I mean, Johnny Williams thinks that the front three is going to be, the key to the game, not so much the midfield. Honestly, I think it's going to be all three phases. I think the midfield is going to be the biggest battle, but all three phases are going to be huge for both teams. But
Cross question, like, do you guys start Firmino for that game? Who's your front three for the first leg? Because Firmino's going to be back. Do you start him or do you drop him?
I think you start Jota.
I think you start Jota too.
Yeah.
No?
Yeah, I have to agree with. Yeah,
Which is fine. That's fine.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, even having Firmino as like a super sub from the bench, it's still a very good option, along with Keita and several others. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Firmino's not dumb. He needs to know that Jota has been, has been fantastic ever since he's come in. He's back from injury. Firmino is on injury, and Jurgen Klopp's always been a guy that you have to earn your place back in the lineup to start usually. So he's gonna have to earn his spot, and if he has to come on as a super sub, then so be it. But I think that Firmino's days of starting and playing 90 minutes as a striker are probably pretty much over for the most part. But are you guys worried about the length of time between now and this game? The amount of time that we have off.
I am.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. If you think about it, like, again, like you said, Andrew, I don't think we were that great against Wolves. I think we were good, not great. And I thought we were good. I thought we were pretty damn good against Leipzig. And it just seemed like finally we were starting to build momentum. This is the first time we won back-to-back games in a while. And then now we get like a 2.5-3 week break before we play again. And that's super, super tough. So I think that game on Saturday against Arsenal is going to really dictate a lot. If we can go out and put a good performance in against them, then I think we'll be okay, because then we'll have that rest and go right into Madrid and be okay. My question is I saw somewhere that the game might not be able to be at Madrid because of the UK travel guidelines, but I also heard something about their stadium.
I think it's more the stadium, because Chelsea hosted Atletico Madrid the other night. So I think you can go play in Spain, but I think it would be at Stefano's stadium or some training ground instead. Rather than around the Bernabeu, because it's under renovation.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I think they've been playing most of their games at that other training ground.
Not that it matters with no fans anyway, but still, I mean, I might maybe make a little bit of a difference. Not sure, but but to kind of
do you guys worry about the fact that we play Anfield the next leg?
No.
How fun.
Oh man, I'm not believing in that stuff. That you're trying to you have this agenda, man. You're trying to push this agenda that Liverpool don't like to win anymore at Anfield.
I'm just saying, like, look how fun at Anfield. Like, is that a concern? Like, because some
all
people say
the English teams that win at Anfield. Okay, this is a different tournament, whole different prospect.
we'll have to hope. Had to hope.
Yeah, I see what you're saying though.
And to kind of pivot a little bit, Chris Welch here, what do you guys think about Firmino as an attacking midfielder next season? I mean, honestly, I think next season could be the season where we see the change to a 4-2-3-1, and I think Bobby would be great in that number 10 role. Give us some flexibility there, and but yeah, what are your guys' thoughts on that?
I think that I think he can be anything. I mean, maybe not anything, but I think he could be a striker. I think that he could play in that 10. That allows us a lot of opportunities, a lot of flexibility in the midfield, a lot of flexibility up front. But I just don't think he's going to be that go-to guy to try to rely on for goals. I mean, he never really was in the first place, but he's just so much better when he has the field in front of him to play with and not with his back to goal. When he is facing forward towards the goal and he can pick out the passes, that's where Bobby Firmino really strives for me. And the days of him being able to turn defender and, do a 1-2 with Salah, I just think that they're gone. So I think that, I 100% can see him playing as the attacking midfielder next year. I don't think we could really see him playing on the wing. I don't think that would be a logical move, but to keep him in the middle of the park and let him pass the ball.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I think I saw a report last week about that Klopp wants to strike another forward, but to keep the main forwards by another forward. And I think it was James Pearce, one of them ones, said that they listed some potential names that it's going to be more. No, it wasn't me. I think it was Neil Jones. It's more of a. They were saying it's more potentially more of a Daka type player that we get if we're going to keep the front three because he doesn't want to sign them. So I think next year, I do think, like Steve says, we'll go to a 4-3-1. And I think Bobby will be played more as a 10 because I think that's where he's really good at. The few games he had played this year, he's played really well as a 10 when he's dropped into that position. So I would like to see him play in that position because, like I said, he's no longer the system in terms of us playing him as a focal point to strike anymore. We've seen with Jota, we don't need Bobby to be the fifth system. It still works, and obviously Jota gives us that pace. So I think Bobby needs to now become in the 10 and also become like rotation kind of forward rather than the start.
What do you think, Mo?
I just don't want to see Firmino at striker like ever again, especially in the false nine. I think that we've been figured out. Like that system, in my opinion, has been like figured out. I think we should start to look into bringing in a proper number 9 that will. It's like he will need only one chance to score. Like, I mean, it is sad to see Firmino kind of separating away from the front three, but I think he should just revert as an attacking midfielder because I think he'll get the best out of him in that position.
Yeah, it'll just take a lot of pressure off him. And I think that right now he does feel the pressure to have to score goals. And I think moving him back a little bit, allowing him to do what he does best will take a lot of that pressure off his shoulders. But one thing I wanted to transition to was the news that came out, I think, this morning or it was yesterday of Trent not making the English team for the World Cup qualifiers coming up. Personally, Southgate's explanation didn't really make sense to me because he's had this is his first bad spell ever, and he's still actually not playing that bad. If you look at the advanced stats, he's right on par with pretty much everybody else in the league, especially defensively. But honestly, I think for me, it's a blessing in disguise for Liverpool, allowing Trent now to get 2.5, 3 weeks break. Doesn't bother me at all. And I think when push comes to shove and the Euros come around, there's no way Trent's not making that team. So I don't think it's that big of a deal. And if anything, it's a favor for Liverpool. But what do you guys think on that?
Yeah, I think that I actually tweeted about this yesterday when I found out the news. I think that it's a godsend for Liverpool supporters and for Liverpool Football Club. Just the history that we've had this year in terms of injuries, I think it's fantastic that none of the Liverpool players are playing for England. That's great. But for Trent, I just felt like individual honors are a huge thing for a player, and for Trent not to get it, and for someone like Kieran Trippier to get it over him, just made no sense to me. I mean, Kieran Trippier, I think he's had 5 assists with Atletico Madrid. I don't think he's really their go-to right back. I think he's been off and on for the most part. I don't think he's had a good season at all for Atletico Madrid. So I was very surprised to see him included in the team, like Jude Bellingham getting the call up. I mean, a lot of it didn't make sense to me. Jesse Lingard getting a call up after literally 6 games back playing football, starting a football match with West Ham. I mean, yeah, he scored a couple of goals, but 6 games. He hasn't played for 2 years in the Premier League. And after 6 games, he gets a call up to England. That's just hypocrisy at the highest level for me in terms of with Southgate. So didn't make any sense to me. I'm happy for Liverpool, but disappointed for Trent.
Go ahead, Mike.
I think it's just more of a case that Southgate just doesn't know how to use Trent in that way because he tries to play with wing backs and with Kyle Walker and Trippier, and I don't think Southgate is well equipped enough as a manager to deal with a player of Trent's quality because I think he's clueless in all honesty. Me too.
Yeah, I think I never rate Southgate. I think he's a joke manager. He was trash at Middlesbrough, and I never understood. He only got appointed the job because he's a yes man.
He almost brought it home, man. What are you talking about?
He's a trash manager. Trash manager. And I just think he doesn't know what he's doing. And for me, I'd love it if he kicked out Henderson too. Drop Henderson, drop Gomez, drop all the Liverpool players. Screw England. I stopped caring about England like after Euro '96, after he failed then, and I haven't cared since. So I don't really care. Like, to me, it's Liverpool come first. So Trent being rested, dropped his 3 weeks rest for us. So full on, Reece James and all the other people have to play, and
True.
have no break whatsoever. So for me, that's great. I tweeted yesterday how I wish there was a day when all of our players got dropped by the national teams, and we had no one going away. But then someone said to me, if that happens, you're probably supporting the championship team. So,
but also it's funny because Trent obviously was getting a lot of nods as being the best right back in the world, and honestly, I think that got to his head a little bit, especially in the start of the season. I thought that he wasn't putting in the performances that we had seen. He was a little lapsed defensively, and now I think this could prove to be motivation for him. I'm not included in the England squad. You're picking Reece James over me. You're picking these other guys over me. Okay, F you. I'm coming back, and all of a sudden he starts splurging assists all over the park. So it could be a good thing for Liverpool. It could be a good thing for Trent.
Yeah, I just want to mention a comment here. Johnny Williams, Omar Ray is a Tottenham fan, so that's why he's saying Klopp out, Mourinho in. Just want to clear that up.
We have so many of those, so many Tottenham fans and stuff like that in here. Where's Charles when you need him? We haven't seen his face in a while. But anyway, the next thing I wanted to get to was, especially you, Andrew, since you haven't been on in a while. What do you guys think of the Kabak and Phillips partnership so far? It seems like they're kind of finding their groove. But then also, what do you think about them both potentially being in the squad next year?
Well, why don't you go first? No, I'll go. I'm glad that it's funny. I was looking at a stat earlier about Trent, and I was comparing him against the other right backs in the league, I think, and how he's done really well defensively. But in the beginning of the season, maybe not so much. But if you look at it, throughout the season, he's played with 20 different center back partnerships. Same goes for Andy Robertson. So it's really tough for a defender to get on the same, in defense, it's nonstop chatter. You always have to be in touch with one another. You have to know where each other is. You have to know where the opposing forward is. And when you bring in 20 different center back partnerships, that's incredibly difficult to understand. So I think that just getting consistency in that position is massive for Liverpool. And we've seen the results from it already. We've had a couple clean sheets. They've played really well. I think Nat Phillips has turned into a player. Honestly, if I had to choose between the two, between Phillips and Kabak, I would probably choose Phillips, to be honest. I think that he is much more aggressive. I think he has a good read for the game. He's dominant in the air. He has a lot of aggression. And he can actually play the ball. He can play the ball with his feet. You've seen him pass through those midfield lines. So I think he could be a nice 4th or 5th choice center back, to be honest.
I'm going to be honest and say, look, I said it a few times that they can only play well against the teams you're faced. You can only play well against the teams you're facing against. So look, Kabak and Phillips have done well against the teams they're facing. But what I would say this is, I'm not getting overexcited like some other fans are, saying that obviously I know Chris Welch is saying Nat Beckenbauer and stuff like that. I'm not getting that carried away because let's be real. Sheffield United should have scored at least 3 goals against us, when we played them. In Wolves, if Wolves had a good number 9, it's a different game than the 1-0 win. They had enough chances in that game. And I think we saw in that game Phillips and Kabak get exposed to pace and movement. So I think that they've not been really tested by anyone like a good strike force yet. Or good strike force has pace. And anytime Kabak got really tested was against Chelsea, against Werner, but then he wasn't really at fault for the goal, so probably wasn't really that tested in that much. So I think the Arsenal game will be a true reflection for us to know, because I think Arsenal got a decent strike force, for us to know how good Phillips and Kabak really are as a partnership and as a good warm-up for the Madrid game, because I think I would 100% play them against Madrid. I don't want to see Fabinho, Henderson, any other centre back role the rest of the
Yeah.
season. You know, so
Definitely.
I don't hope he doesn't, because I think we do that. It's a bottle job. We could put Fabinho back there, or Henderson back there. It's a bottle job for me. But I'm just I'm just saying, like, that's going to be the true test. The Arsenal game first, and then Real Madrid's going to be like a bigger test to see how they can deal with that. So I think it's against the bigger teams we're going to know how good they really are. But of course, if you're saying to me, Phillips is a fifth choice, I'd happy with that, because I think he's a no nonsense. You need a guy like that as a fifth choice, not a fourth choice, fifth choice in me, because you need someone like that. You know, I would still prefer someone bit better than him, like a Botman or Calais-Qatar to come in. Kabak's played well, and I have to say, like, I still not convinced in terms of Kabak's concentration. I still think he can get caught ball watching, but he did go well against Wolves. But I still think I'd like to see him testing as a proper striker. Like if he played against Lewandowski or Haaland like that, I'd like to see how he does, because that'd be a true test to say to me, like, is he now good enough to then become like this partnership next to Van Dijk? Because if he came out with flying colours, you know, we saw, you know, 2 years ago, Fabinho, Matip, man-mark Lewandowski out of the game. You know, so you knew Fabinho was good enough to come in and play next to Van Dijk and do it week out against anyone. You knew Matip was good enough. I want to see Kabak do that. You know, play against one of those players and put in a certain performance, and you know, yeah, Kabak's ready. Otherwise, I'd accept Kabak as a fourth or fifth choice, but I'd want someone a bit better fully before I want to see him tested before I can fully say, yeah, I'm on board with buying him in the summer and putting him next to him, because I don't think he's been tested yet. I don't think Phillips has been properly tested.
Yeah, I think what Chris Welch, I completely agree with what Chris Welch is saying here. I mean, Kaleta Takar, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Kaleta definitely him or Botman. I think having Phillips as the fifth choice though is unrealistic in my opinion. I don't think the FSG would do that. I think I'd rather spend money elsewhere. I think Phillips is reliable and has earned a fourth choice spot. And you know, if they don't want to keep him, I think we can get good money for him. I think he's proven to be at least a 15 million to 20 million pound signing. So I mean, Mo, what do you?
I did. Sorry, before we get to it, I did hear a quote, a report so recent that said that Phillips won first in football.
Good for him, man.
We'll make a pretty penny.
The ball's on him. I like that.
What do you think, Mo?
I mean, I think Phillips has done excellently since he's come in. As long they've kept him and Kabak have kept 4 clean sheets in 7, which is decent considering our like woes in defence. But as long as it keeps Fabinho in the midfield, I think you just have to keep him. You just have to stay with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I just got to reference Jamie. This isn't 2017, buddy. That's all I'm going to say to you. You guys are losing the table to Atletico Madrid. So, but yeah, no, I think that Phillips could have a future at Liverpool. I mean, he's gone through a lot of ups and downs with the team. You know, he gets sent to the German second division, played there, and then comes back and has to play under Reece Williams, who is 19 from like the English 10th division. So he's gone through a lot of ups and downs with Liverpool, and he's shown resiliency throughout. So I think you got to tip your cap to him, and I think that he definitely deserves a spot on the team if we want to keep him.
Yeah, I would like to see one of 2 of those guys still on the squad next year. I think it's more realistic that it's Kabak over Phillips, but I think either one would be good.
What, you think it's Kabak over Phillips?
Yeah, I think so. It's because he's 20 years old. You know, he's 20. He idolizes Van Dijk. He still has so much room to grow, and he still has more experience than Phillips does. Even though Phillips, you know, has probably been a little bit better. Yeah, fucking jammy. I can't. Yeah, Liverpool are mid table. Yeah, I appreciate the troll job here, but mid-table Premier League clubs don't win the Champions League and then go on to win the Premiership next year and then be in the quarterfinal of the Champions League again. So appreciate the troll job, but you got to try a little bit harder than that. But anyway, just to kind of transition a little bit over there, Klopp wants to manage Germany. You know, he came out and said that he's not available. He's going to see out his contract, but What are your guys' thoughts on that? I mean, he said he wants to have a full year also after his contract ends too, before he takes up another team. So, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Having 3 more years of Klopp.
Let's start with Mo. What do you think, Mo?
I mean, as long as FSG back him, because we're clearly in a it's not a rebuild phase, but this is the summer that we really need to show that they're going to really back Klopp in a very tough situation. I don't know, if those same problems occur next year that happened this year, I don't know, to be honest. But I think Klopp will see out his contract just like at Dortmund.
Yeah, I can guarantee you this, Mo, that to this year's amount of injuries won't happen again. This was a friggin' crazy fluke. But everything that I've read has said that FSG are going to fully back Klopp this summer. To what extent, I don't know. But I think that's good news, just hearing that little tidbit. So I think that Jurgen Klopp's a man of loyalty. He's going to, continue on with his contract, and he'll probably let that go. I don't think he'll re-sign another one. But I think there's been conversations. Stevie G, he's coming. He just won the Scottish Premiership. They're just letting him get his feet under him, and he's just going to come to Liverpool and win the Premier League title with Liverpool. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I don't know. I saw Klopp's agent said that he's staying for 3 years. They're leaving, so that's a nonsense about him going for Germany. So even Pierce, I saw Pierce in a different podcast 2 weeks ago. I think it was in Coppish, and he was saying that Klopp's not going anywhere for the next 3 years. So all the nonsense about him going to Germany was not that from that idiot from Bild, that German guy,
Christian Polk, I think.
His Poles, yeah. We call from him. He talks nonsense. He got exposed by Mason Mount's dad in the summer, so he just talks nonsense. Do I think Klopp's going to stay after that? Depends. His wife apparently has a big say as well, and apparently she loves it in England, Liverpool. She sees it as home and stuff. So I think this depends on what Klopp does, because he did also talk. I think it was in the summer him saying that he wouldn't really not sign a new contract again. Probably more likely he probably goes, but there's a chance. There's a chance he might, but who knows? But I think it's for him to stay for the next 3 years. I think it's awesome, because obviously he's the best man for the job. For the time being, I wouldn't want to see anyone else in the job other than Klopp the next 3 years. I think this is going to be. I think it's got the biggest test, because obviously when it didn't work out at Dortmund that time, Klopp left. So it's going to be a big test for him to see, can he then put Liverpool back on top again? So it's a good fight for him, a good challenge. So I think he will show next year that Liverpool are a different team. I think we are going to be a different team next year. Because it's not going to take a lot of money for us to fix the issues that we need.
And before we move on here, we appreciate you tuning in all the time. All you guys in the chat, we love you guys, and all you guys' input really makes this show a lot better. You guys adding your questions in, gives us stuff to talk about. So we appreciate you, and anyone else who's in here who hasn't subscribed and liked yet, please do it. We love doing it. It helps us get bigger guests on, like James Pierce. So we'd love to keep doing that stuff, especially for you guys, and keep pumping out content. So thank you very, very much.
I just want to say, Jamie came back again, and people are calling him a realist. That he's a Liverpool supporter, but we're not very good. Facts. I disagree. I don't think that's fact. I think that's theory. I think that not many teams in Europe could have the amount of injuries that we've had. Yeah, we're in 6th place in the table, but we're in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. We've lost one of the best players in the world in Virgil van Dijk, definitely the best defender in the world. And he's had a colossal impact on our team, and losing him obviously had its repercussions. I think that we're still a very good team. We've had a lot of unfortunate events that have happened to us this year, including COVID, including Klopp's, a lot of personal things happening with the players and the coaches. So I think we're still a very good club, and I think that's going to be seen in these last couple of months in the Premier League and in the Champions League. I'm not saying we're going to win anything, but I think that we're still a very good club.
Plus, Sudan's, you not hear Sudan coming out and saying, "Oh, I'm happy you got Liverpool and draw." He's come out and said that it's going to be a difficult game. So, so I think I get Jamie's point in the sense, obviously, yeah, we haven't been that great this year, but he's failing to, as you mentioned, like talk about context. The injuries.
Correct.
The injuries, the lack of fans. Most teams wouldn't be in a quarterfinal after having the kind of issues that we had. So for us to be there is huge. And also, we beat the second best team in Germany right now. We beat them comfortably home and away. That team kicked out Man United. So, as I said before, no one else in the Champions League would have wanted to face Liverpool with two legs. Not because we can beat everyone. We're going to beat everyone. But the fact they know that they're going to be in a fight, it's not going to be an easy game. Fans are no fans. They know Liverpool are good in two-legged ties when it comes to Europe. So I think there's been a realistic and there's been probably a pessimistic, but all opinions, all views are here welcome. Regardless of who you support. So but just Beautiful. I think you have a bit more open mind to realize the context of what's happened this season.
And I don't think it's a coincidence. I just need to say this. I don't think it's a coincidence that there's no fans in the stands and Man City are doing so incredibly well. I think that their players and their coach are spineless when the pressure is on the line. And when there isn't fans in the stands and they don't have to, Raheem Sterling doesn't have to hear the Anfield faithful and the cop screaming at him. Yeah, he'll probably play a little better. So yeah, if they win anything this year, there's an asterisk next to them for me.
Well, Jamie B, you're saying we can't use excuses. We're in a quarterfinal, so what else do you want? We're in a quarterfinal right now. So, you might say Leicester got injuries, but Leicester in a quarterfinal of the Champions League. No, they're not. So, have some context.
And most of our injuries have come at the same position at center back. So it's it's not like they're scattered across the pitch. It's all in the
20 different center back partnerships. And Man United got kicked out. They're in Europa League. Arsenal, you're in Europa League. So,
but what about kind of going around the team and everything? Our starting front three, take away Jota, they're getting up there in age. We're getting a little bit older. Is that a concern for you guys going forward? And, I know Johnny Williams, he thinks that the board needs to put up some funds this year, and this might be the year to do it because our team is getting older. What do you guys think on that? Mo, why don't you start us off, Mo?
Yeah, Mike.
I mean, for me, I think this is what kind of puts me in two minds about the Genie contract in a way, because
here we go.
I know it's going to sound controversial, but if you're going to start rebuilding with the young players now, you kind of need to move like your Matips, Firminos, Wijnaldums, and etc. And then, but I would also try to get the most out of the youth academy, and then so on and so forth. But it is a growing concern, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think it's a concern. There's too many players that are on the wrong side of 30, and that is a concern. Obviously, you got to start the rebuild sometime. And I think this summer we have to get at least three new players in this summer. That help sort it out, like a young striker, a kind of youngish midfielder, and a good young centre back that would help us with that, because obviously we're not going to be able to do everyone. We've got to start thinking about that, because otherwise you're in a situation where you have so many old players and it's too hard to start replacing them. So we need to start some of that rebuild now and then finish off the summer after. With but I definitely feel it is a concern, because there are too many old players in our team now, and we need to lower. We used to have a point where we had a really good squad average age for the squad. Now it's not that great, so it is a concern.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see us just get a little bit more a little bit younger. I see Islam Assar, his name's coming up. I think he'd be a great deputy for the wingers. Daka would be a great guy to come in, something like that. But I don't think it needs to be massive, but I think if this summer, if we can go get 2, maybe 3 guys in that 25 and under who can come into the first team, whether it's start or, be a key reserve, I think that's a great start just because, with the age, especially of, Mane and Salah, these are world-class guys, but they're getting up there. We need to be able to develop guys behind them. I know we have Harvey Elliott, but I don't know if he's ready to jump in first team for Liverpool yet. But no, it's definitely a concern, but I think this summer – you go bring in 2 or 3 younger guys, and I think we're on the right path to having that second wave of guys coming in. So a little bit of a concern, but overall, as long as this summer goes well, if you can secure a top 4 spot, I think we'll be okay.
Well, you got to think that Milner's on his way out. Oxlade-Chamberlain is probably on his way out. So you keep Henderson, but then you still have Fabinho, Curtis Jones, Naby Keita. I mean, that's a pretty young midfield overall. I think Naby's 25 right now. But obviously Jones like 19, 20. So yeah, I think if you can add another midfielder, but I still think that keeping somebody like Gini Wijnaldum could be big. I don't know if we pay him the money that he wants, probably not. But it seems like Barcelona has cooled off their interest in him, so maybe he'd be willing to take somewhat of lesser of a deal. If that's the case, then I would definitely keep him. I think he has a lot of qualities, and he's shown that regardless of the Twitter abuse, he's shown that throughout this season. One of which is being available, and the other is just being able to probably being the best in the league at retaining the ball. So, I mean, yeah, while I think that we do need a lot of young talent in the squad, I think that it's going to take some time. I don't think we're going to see a lot of signings this summer, maybe 2 or 3. I don't think there's going to be any, 4 or 5 signings that we're going to see this summer.
I think Johnny Williams has a good point here. A good transition into the recent news about Redbird and LeBron James coming over. I got to hop off, though. Everyone in the chat, appreciate you guys. I'll see you guys for the special that we have on Monday. Wahomie will make that announcement. But I'll talk to you guys later.
Cool. Yeah, so, what's everyone's take on the Red Bull thing? Like, did you feel like that's good for Liverpool? Let's start with you, Mo. What did you think of the whole...
I've read into it, and apparently it's not going to affect the transfer budget as much because I think they're Redbird investing in multiple projects. So I don't know if it's going to affect the investment plans because even the LeBron news, I think he was already a big shareholder of us as well. So I don't know if that's going to impact too much. So yeah,
I think that it could definitely. I think it just adds another group into the mix. It adds further conversation. I mean, you don't just have FSG talking to Klopp. You don't just have FSG, Mike Gordon, Edwards. You have a whole nother group involved in the conversation who have substantial funds in the club. So I think that adds different perspective. Clearly, it adds further funding. But I think it's definitely a good way for FSG to get some of their investment back, and I think that it's also, it just adds another aspect of the conversation in terms of transfers or how you want to run the club. That's what it is for me. I think it's nothing but good things.
So I read an article about this. They said although it's not going to be money, I think what FSG are planning, they're trying to copy the Red Bull kind of project, or Man City have different clubs around the world. Obviously, they've seen the success of Salzburg and Red Bull, and they want to replicate that. So they're looking to buy another European club, so to replicate that, and they're also.
Where?
I don't know. It didn't say in the article where, but it just said that they were looking to buy another European club to kind of be able to send on loan youngsters.
Yeah.
Onto that, yeah, and try that kind of model. And then the other thing we're talking about how they're hoping that LeBron had more involvement, even though it's not much. I think he's only got 1% of FSG now, but that's going to help with the Nike kind of deal in terms of getting more merchandise out and doing things like a foot deal and stuff like that. So that's what they're hoping there. And then they're hopefully maybe that with all these projects, extra money will then come to Liverpool in the end. But it's not going to be immediate thing in terms of we get influx of money from it, unfortunately, because it's not LeBron's, I think, part owner of Red Sox, and he's got more influence there rather than Liverpool. The money's going to FSG, not coming actually into Liverpool. So that's where there's a.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I read the article, it said that LeBron gets a stake in the Red Sox, but I just took that meaning FSG, meaning Liverpool. But
No,
that's not the case. But he does have a stake in Liverpool.
Got a stake in Liverpool, but it's different entities.
Yeah.
Cool, mate. Yeah, that's no problem, mate.
All right, thank you. All right, thanks for the experience. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So it's not the way the article I saw it. It's not. He's got a stake in Liverpool, but he bought he's increased his shares in FSG overall as a company. So it doesn't mean that means that Liverpool are going to see an influx of money. Unfortunately, all it meant is that FSG as a whole they're going to see money, but whether or not they give that money to Red Sox or Liverpool is a different matter, because they're going to use that money to invest in other businesses. That's what they wanted. They wanted to buy a new club. They wanted to buy. I think they want to buy her. So I think they thought they want to buy another NFL team.
They don't own an NFL team right now.
Yeah, I think that's they want to buy one. So I think they want to buy one. And I think they also I can't remember another club, another
the
sport.
NFL is dying. Don't do it.
So that's their plan. It's not to invest money in Liverpool in that sense.
Yeah.
Obviously they're hoping that overall the money will then help, but it's not. Unfortunately, Johnny, it's not going to be where they're going to give us 100 million in the summer and say, "Here's that." Unfortunately, I reckon it's going to be the exact same as it was. Whatever the club's earned, you get to buy, sell, you get to use, and you make any money for player sales. So if we won the Champions League, you get that money, TV money, and that's it. They're not going to give us 60 million or 80 million and say, "Here, go buy someone." Unfortunately,
I think we could see a little bit of funding from FSG this
hopefully.
summer. I agree with you. I don't think it'll be anything like 100, 150 million, but I also think that we're going to see a lot of outgoings this summer. I think Origi is definitely gone. Ox is definitely gone. Matip should probably be gone. Milner's gone. These are all these guys are going to be off the paycheck. So I mean, it's going to be an interesting summer. It's going to be really interesting. But the chat's kind of going off right now about Jordan Henderson.
I saw that about Oscar thinking Jordan Henderson. Fair enough. Obviously, look, if that's your opinion, Oscar, you want to Jordan Henderson, fair enough. That's like I said, everyone's entitled to their opinion. Personally, for me, I think Jordan Henderson is disrespectful by certain Liverpool fans. I don't understand it. I tweeted about this yesterday that I still don't understand the disrespect Henderson gets. Like you see Liverpool badly miss Henderson when he's not playing. His leadership, he's the one you hear barking orders on the pitch, shouting at players to get in position, getting stuff. He was the one who shouted, for example, Thiago against Leicester. He gave away a stupid free kick. You need a player like Henderson. His energy, also Henderson's this year had to play our position. He's done something for he put on the team, had to play one position. We all know Henderson loves to be box to box. That's what he wants to play. And last season when he was box to box, how good was he? Getting forward, getting crucial goals. That's what he wants to play. He doesn't want to. He'll play the 6 if he has to, but that's not what he wants to play. He wants to play box to box. And he puts himself sacrificing off the team. You need Henderson around the team, around the first in the first team. So I wouldn't sell Henderson or move him on anytime soon. And I don't think he will. Henderson's going to end up being like Milner, where he will end up still being a part late into his 30s, 40s. Yeah. 30s like
I also think that Gini Wijnaldum could be like that too. Would you agree with that? Would you think that Gini could be like that in a role?
He could. If Gini was giving you a contract, he could do it 100%. But I just feel that, I saw Paul. I can't remember who it was. Was it Paul Gross or someone said that the rumors last weekend of Gini having a verbal contract was nonsense. That there's no difference. There's no movement in terms of contracts. Nothing's changed. So I just don't think 2 months to go. I'd love him to sign your contract. I just don't see why Los Angeles is going to sign your contract. I just don't see it in 2 months' time. I think like he's going to go out with a bang, hopefully gets number 7, and then unfortunately moves on. Because even though he might not go to Barcelona, there were loads of clubs after Gini in the summer. So, I just don't think. I can
see him going to like Juve or someone like that.
Yeah, it could be. I just don't feel that FSG are going to give him 180 grand a week, which is what he's after. I just don't see it.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous money for his services. But he has been getting screwed by Liverpool by only making £75,000 a week.
100% agree with that. He should have been on 120, equal money to Ox and Keita. I agree with that. You know, he should be recognised because Ginny's been absolutely a beast for us. You know, even against Wolves, the guy was a beast. Against Leipzig, the guy was a beast in those games. So, you know, my question to you is actually, when Henderson comes back, who's your midfield and when everyone's fit? You're playing a big game, second leg to Madrid. Who's your midfield when everyone's fit? Obviously, just midfield wise.
If it's Real Madrid, I'm playing. It also depends when. All right, so say everybody's fully fit. Everybody's fully fit, right? Everybody's played. Everybody's trained for at least 2 days or whatever. I would play Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago. I really would. I feel bad for Gini saying that. I really do, because I think Gini's been phenomenal all season, and he probably deserves to be in that spot. But you can't not have Jordan Henderson in that midfield. You have to have Fabinho as the 6. And Thiago is just a game changer. He offers something that nobody else in the team can offer. So those 3 guys are just absolute staples in that midfield whenever they're fully fit. And unfortunately for Gini, and that maybe that's why he wants to leave too. Fortunately for Gini, he doesn't make that front 3 or that middle 3 for me.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I think it's difficult because I think Gini's outstanding in big games. You know, he's a big match player. You know, like remember the Barcelona game. I've seen it countless times, and he comes alive, especially in Champions League. Gini, like he steps up to the plate.
Yeah,
you know, he scored that big goal against Roma when we, you know, in the away goal that really was crucial. Big match player, but when you look at it realistically, you want to have Fabinho as your number 6 because he's arguably, maybe except for Kante, I can think of the best defensive midfielder in world football other than Kante. That's really challenging him. Then you're going to have Henderson in there because he's the captain and he's the leader. He's the measuring stick. He's the one that pushes everyone forward. You know, gets everyone pumped up. You know, starts the press.
Yeah.
And then the last thing you bought Thiago. Thiago was bought for a reason. He wasn't bought to sit on the bench. You know, as much as we might hate it, Thiago was bought to, you know, come in and play these big Champions League games. We saw it last season for Bayern Munich. I know I get Sophie, you know, but we saw it last year at Bayern Munich how Thiago was the man that was the difference maker in the final against Barca, against Chelsea, against Lyon. You know, so unfortunately, it depends on the game, but he probably will favour Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago in the big matches to get it in. And he'll probably do play Thiago for 60 minutes, take him off, bring Gini on to start the game to control the match. You know, but I think that's how it's going to be. Watford, can you put it out, mate? Because none of that. Just everyone. This is the place where we treat everyone with respect. So you know, we love obviously being here, but if you're going to continue saying those kind of statements, you will be removed. So just let you know.
Yeah, let's everybody show respect to everybody in the chat and in the host if possible. But no, I mean I agree. It's tough for Gini because Gini's just he's played everywhere for us this year minus center back, I think, and he definitely deserves to start. But unfortunately, I think Klopp would go with Thiago in there just because he adds that little something extra. And it's funny because in past seasons, if this was 2 years ago, I think he probably would have kept Gini in there just because the way that we used to play with the amount of pressing that we used to do, it would have been perfect with him, Henderson, and Fabinho. But now with with the front 3, I think that Thiago can just add that little something extra. So it'll be interesting who he chooses. It really will. And you know, maybe we'll see another Barcelona like thing when Gini's pissed off on the bench, and then he comes in and scores a brace. So you could see it. Who knows? But yeah, what else did you want to cover today? Was there anything else you wanted to cover?
Maybe just a few transfer things, like some, you know, just see what you think about these ones. So,
I just want to say, Johnny Williams said something that I kind of referenced earlier. He said that Trent got too big for his boots last year, and he peaked too early. Needs to go back to basics. Yeah, and I think that this this England snub definitely will humble him a little bit, and I'm hoping that'll bring out the best in him, because I think that an angry Trent is a good Trent, and hopefully we'll start seeing some more assists flow in. But yeah, appreciate the apology, Watford.
We appreciate it. Yeah.
Yep.
So I was just going through a few transfer ones and see what you think.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
The first one was links to Awar of Lyon. You know, so what's your take on Awar? And do you think like he's someone that we can realistically get this summer? And would you want him?
So I actually haven't seen too much of Awar, but he's more of like the box to box, right?
Yeah, box to box, but he's kind of played a bit more defensive this year for Lyon, and done that job.
So we wouldn't need that. And then when I come to think of it, then we also already have kind of a box to box in Naby Keita. We have a box to box like player in Curtis Jones. So I don't think that FSG will want to spend the money for him. I mean, he'll probably get what, 50 million, 60 million for Awar. That's what it'll cost. I mean, I think they're going to roll the dice with Keita, and Jones has been phenomenal this season since every time he's played. So I think that they'd rather go with him than Awar. I mean, I also think that FSG, the way that they run things, and Michael Edwards, they don't really go for the big names. Anyway, I think you guys said this in the last show. They don't go for the big names. Awar's turning into a pretty big name, and he's going to want big money as well. And FSG don't really give big money. They really don't.
Well, yeah, I think with Awar, I think he's a very good player. And I think with him is a case of I did watch a podcast in August where Melissa Reddy was saying that if it wasn't for COVID, last summer obviously Liverpool's prime targets were Awar and Werner. Obviously, we're glad we didn't get Werner in the end. But I think I've seen quite a few people say as well that we're still interested in Awar. I think with him, it's the case of, look, if Ginny was to go, I think Liverpool probably would be interested in him, because I think Milner's probably going to go as well. Ox is going to go. So you're going to need an extra body in there. Someone else is different. But again, it's whether or not you can drive in a deal with a loose, because I think he's the hard one. He's the one that's going to try to get a bidding war. So, and also, Awar nearly joined Arsenal this summer.
Wait, I'm sorry, who'd you just say?
Lewis, I think the Lyon director.
Sorry.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yeah. He's the difficult one to strike a deal with, because he wants to bid in more. So it's going to be difficult.
Is that where Lacazette came from, Lyon?
Yeah, Lyon.
Yeah, they took Arsenal like 3 years to get.
Yeah. The next one is Jonathan David of Lille. Apparently, we linked him last summer as well, before we got Jota. And apparently, he's got like 10 goals for Lille.
You know what? I could see that if we made Champions League again, I could definitely see us, and we still have some players. I could see us making a move for a guy like that if we can get another player like Daka on the cheap, or whoever else we want to bring up front. But I just can't see FSG spending 60 million pounds for Awar when we have Naby Keita and Curtis Jones just waiting to play.
Varane. Apparently he's on a free this summer or something. Or
Real Madrid?
Yeah.
No, dude. I wish. I would love to have Varane. I don't see that happen. I feel like this happens every year with Spanish players. It's whether it's Sergio Ramos, Lionel Messi, whoever the hell it is, they just want to get a bigger contract. So they say, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'm linked with Manchester United. I'm linked with Liverpool." They just want a bigger contract. Their agents are just going to war for them. That's how these things work. It's all about the money.
All right. There's a guy called Donnell Marlin. He's PSG's got 14 goals in 18 games. Apparently, he's been linked to as a new big thing in Dutch football.
I've never heard of him, man. But I do want to get. I'm sorry. Let me just cut you off real quick. Watford has something good here. He said, "Would you guys take Ryan Brewster back once Sheffield get relegated?" No. You wouldn't.
No.
Why?
As I said, I'd never rated Brewster. Really, I think when he had that injury and he lost his pace, he wasn't as good as pace was before. When he went to the World Cup 19, World Cup 19 or under 20s, he was phenomenal. When he got that injury, he wasn't the same player again afterwards. When he lost his pace, he lost that thing about him. And I think when I've seen for Sheffield United, the few chances he has got, he hasn't done anything that special to me that looked amazing. I thought, oh wow, we missed out on him.
To be fair, Sheffield have been absolutely atrocious this season.
Yeah, but even when he did play for us, we did give him chances for Liverpool. He wasn't doing anything special. He never stood out and made me think, wow, like we need to keep this guy. He didn't do anything. So
yeah, I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate with you. I actually don't think that he has a future at Liverpool. Unfortunately, I think that he probably should have gone back down to the Championship. To be honest, that's probably where his future remains. But hey, I think it was damn good business by Michael Edwards again for getting 20-something million for him or wherever it was.
What about Kubali? Apparently, he's a cut price for 35 million this summer.
Dude, you're bringing Varane at me. You're bringing Koulibaly. Are you kidding me?
That's the link is that
for the past 3 years.
Yeah, but the link is that was a rumor I heard that he's going for 35 million.
No, how old is Koulibaly now?
I think 29, 30.
Looking this up. Yeah, he's 29. He'll be 30 in June. I mean, if it's a cut price, yeah, I would definitely take him 100%. I mean, I'd be a fool not to take him. But yeah, I agree with Chris Welch. I think he's overrated. But I think he'd be fairly rated if it was for 30 million. 80 million, he's extremely overrated, which is what he's been priced at for the past 3 years.
Okay, next one, Berg at Sheffield United.
Who was it?
Berg.
Where does he play?
I think it's defensive midfield.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, we have plenty that can play the 6 right now, and we have Fabinho. We have.
Upamecano's overrated. I'll say that now. I've seen the light. He's overrated. I don't want him.
But
going back to Berg, I've seen some people say I wasn't happy about it. And some people said to me like he could be another Robbo or Gini Wijnaldum, unknown. I just feel like it's like it's a kind of sticky plaster rather than actually solving it. If you're gonna get a DM, they gotta get someone better, like a good. Go and get Kamingva of what's his name? Did he plays again?
I don't know, but to be honest, I'm not worried about too many signings for our midfield. I just think that we need one more really, really good signing up top. Oh, I think we just lost Omi. But yeah, I just feel like we need a really good signing up top, like a Daka. I mean, Holland would be ideal. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. Yeah, I mean, Chris Welch, I completely agree with you. I don't think that Berg is at Liverpool's level. I just I think we have the midfield that we need. I just think that we need maybe one or two more reinforcements in there. I don't think we need a vast overhaul or 3 players or anything like that. But I think we need a solid striker, like a Jota signing, a Jota-esque signing. And I don't think Ismail Sarr. I don't think Sarr fits that bill either, to be honest. For 40 million.
I think I was going for Rennes at Kamavanga, the French kid at Lille, Rennes. I think he's going to be a baller. But I don't think we get him. We also linked that Stuttgart kid. Apparently, he's a new Peter Crouch of Germany.
Where are you getting these names?
I saw them again. Someone posted that again. Like I haven't seen much of him. Sasa Kalajivic. He's for Stuttgart. He scored 12 goals in 23 games. He's apparently, I think, like 6'4" or something. And he's supposed to be the new Peter Crouch of Germany. But I don't think he'd be the one for us. I think if you're talking about strikers, obviously people are talking about Mbappe. I think that's ever going to happen. It's a pipe dream. Even if it's champion football, I just don't see it. Haaland, I think as well. Haaland's it's not going to happen for us. I think he's.
Although,
it's gonna be expensive.
what do you think would happen if PSG loses to Bayern Munich in the quarterfinals? I think that there could be a case made that he moves on.
Who, Haaland?
No, Mbappe.
Potentially, he will, but I think if he goes anywhere to Madrid, I just can't see him ever come Liverpool.
But I've heard all year that they can't afford him.
They probably can't afford him, but you know Madrid, they're so corrupt. They'll find a way to. I'm not playing ITK. I just list out names. Just kidding. My English transfer was I just show the ones. I think it's if I was going to give Mahomes names, I would say as a ITK and Shekria of Leon. He's like, check him out. Good. When you finish here tonight, everyone go check out Shekria of Leon. He's the next wonder kid after a while, like the one who they've all raved about him. And I think he might go Real Madrid if Zidane stays, but he's ridiculous. Going back to Mbappe, I don't know how Madrid would afford him, but I think they're corrupt enough with the Spanish government to bail them out and buy him for them. You know, they've done all this dodgy stuff in the past. Man City wouldn't buy him. I just can't see Mbappe ever being at Liverpool. You know,
yeah, I don't think that happens. I mean, I was listening to the Red Agenda with James Pierce earlier, and he was saying that he recalls a conference with Klopp, and he was, there was all these links with Mbappe 2020 and all that BS. And Klopp said that I'm not looking for the Mbappes, I'm looking for the next Mbappe. And while I think Mbappe would be literally the perfect Jurgen Klopp player, he's looking for the next Mbappe. He's not going to spend $200 million for one player, where you could get 3 or 4 that are going to be that next caliber player in a couple of years under Jurgen Klopp. So
Watford, I'm just curious. Watford, who does this Giovanni Di Baggio play for? Like, who does that play? 18 goals. I just googled him. I can't find him. Who does he play for? Yeah, I agree with you that I don't think Klopp's going to buy an Mbappe or a Haaland. I think that's going to be unrealistic for us because we haven't got the finances and it's not realistic. Genoa. Genoa. I'll look at him on YouTube later on tonight. Serie B. I'll look at him on YouTube later on tonight. But yeah, I think probably Daka is probably the next. Or you don't want to get a striker because I get obviously the people reserved with Daka the fact that the African nations, so we might get a winger. That's why it's linked to Jonathan David. There's Leon Bailey, Leverkusen linked to as well. So we might get a wide player, and do it that way. Drake, Josh, look, it was funny that the Sophie thing was funny the first time around, but if you keep going on about this Sophie stuff, like I said before, you will get banned because it's not funny anymore. So we appreciate you being on the chat, and you're welcome here. We love your opinions on football, but drop this Sophie Wahomey thing because it's not funny anymore. So, so I think Dak would probably be realistic, or we get a wide player and keep.
Have we seen any fees being quoted? Have we seen a fee being quoted for Daka yet?
No fee, but I know last summer Milan nearly bought him for 25 million, but they couldn't get the deal over the line because they used up all the non-EU foreign quota, so they can get him, so the deal fell through.
Yeah. Walford, real quick. So my brother and I, Steve, who was on the show earlier, him and I started Yanks to the Cop. We're both from America. We started Yanks to the Cop around this time last year, and Wahomey was one of our guests on a podcast. And I said to Wahomey, I said, we would love to have you on again in the future. And he was just like, yeah, anytime. I love doing this. Love talking about Liverpool. So we took him up on it, and we started a YouTube channel, and he's joined us ever since, and he's been an integral part of Yanks to the Cop, even though he's not a Yank himself. But it's great having some boots in the trenches over there in London. So that's kind of how we started. And just to address real quick, so Sophie's a good friend of ours, and she's been on the show plenty of times, and it's been a kind of a thing of the show where Wahomey and Sophie tend to disagree on things, and it's proper banter at its finest, but there has been some inappropriate comments made. So we do appreciate all respect given to those in the chat and to our hosts here. But that's kind of how we were started. And appreciate the apology, Drake. Not a problem at all. But
still love, nothing but love.
But that's kind of how we started, guys. And it's been a great journey along the way. And Steven and I have fun doing it. And it's been great doing it with Wahomey. So once all this COVID stuff is dead and buried. Hopefully very soon, maybe this summer. But Stephen and I want to come across the pond and go to a game at Anfield and probably visit Wahomey in London and try to visit all you guys as well. Maybe grab a pint at the pubs. So that's our goal, at least. Once all this stuff is over with, we can kind of meet everybody in person. That'd be a blast. It'd be a blast to meet Wahomey in person.
It will be, get you over here,
But anything else you want to cover tonight, or
nothing tonight. I think the only thing I'm going to say is Monday, everyone. We've got a big Champions League special where we're going to be looking at all the different quarterfinal ties, semi-final ties, giving our viewpoints over strengths and weaknesses of each team, and also just going into more depth of Liverpool's chances of getting past Real Madrid, and also potentially we did get past Real Madrid, the quarterfinal against Chelsea or Porto, which one it would be, and then if we got to the final. So we're going to be looking at that in more detail. So that's going to be a really good one. So we got some exciting guests coming through that. So do join us. We'll post information about that on the Sunday and the Monday. Obviously for us to be live on Monday.
That's at Monday at 9:00 Great Britain time.
Yeah, 9 or 10. We haven't probably think more 10 because one of the guests can't make it until 10. So it'll probably be 10 o'clock. Yeah, that night. So so check out for that. That's gonna be a really exciting show. And then we're gonna have some more shows coming up for you that are really good content over this international period to give entertainment with no football.
Yes,
so there's going to be lots more stuff to do from Liverpool. And as always, Friday's final words on every Friday. So do tell other people to subscribe. If you haven't so far, make sure you like and subscribe because, it's going to help us get us content to more people, get more views, and help us to be seen as much as possible. So, we can get more people on here. Yeah, and all fans are welcome. So it doesn't matter whether you're a Liverpool fan, Arsenal, United, whoever, it doesn't matter. You're all welcome here. Yeah.
Just no City fans. I'm just kidding. But all right, guys. Thanks for joining for another episode of Yanks of the Cop. Well, homie, I will talk to you over the weekend.
Perfect. Yeah. Otherwise, everyone, it's been a pleasure. Up the Reds, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.